Welcome to Did She Really Say That? The podcast for women who are done following the traditional business rules. This is a revolution for women, and we know that you're here not by chance, but because you said, hey, I want to start taking control of the money that I'm making. You're a woman in business, you're making an income, but you ask yourself, the money I'm making every month seems to be going out the same way it came in, just as quickly. And it's time to stop this vicious circle and say, hey, there's a way to be a businesswoman and build wealth at the same time. And this is where Tanisha comes in and is going to explain something and share with us a couple of really cool things. First off, there's the income snowball, which I'm super curious for her to dive into. And then, because we know this is important and women, we need more of you in AI, playing with this and using this as a tool. So Tanisha's going to talk to us about how to use it to invest. And I'm really excited about this. So, Tanisha, thank you so much for being on the Create Her Money Revolution, a conversation and a masterclass really about how women can start taking control and building their wealth. Because this is something I feel like we're just missing right now. So many of us are building businesses, but we're not building wealth. It drives me insane. So, welcome to our platform and let us know a little bit about you so our audience gets to know a little bit about how you got on this journey.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. This is an honor, and I'm very excited to speak to your audience here. Yeah, so I have a background in law, so I'm a lawyer. I don't hold that against me though.
Not at
So
all. Not at all.
in 1999, I was an employment lawyer. I had over $100,000 in student loan debt from both UC Berkeley, where I got my undergraduate degree, and USC, where I got my law degree, and was pretty miserable. I was working lots of hours, was a newlywed, was not able to see my husband very often. But within 2 years of us getting married, we were able to pay off all of my student loan debt, be completely debt free and financially free. We had enough passive income from investments that I could quit working at the firm, which I wanted to do. Trust me, it was not what it's cracked up to be for me anyway. So we were financially free and debt free within 2 years of getting married. And that's when, after that point, it was really no risk for me to start a business because we had enough passive income to cover all of our living expenses. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that once you have enough passive income from investments that cover your living expenses, then it doesn't matter what happens with your job or your business. You're
True.
okay. You can cover all your bills. You can eat. You'll have a roof over your head. Everything is fine. And so that's where that I think a lot of business owners are missing that safety net. But that's when I was able to create the income snowball, which is a patented system. I have a patent on it. It's a calculator. I'll go into that a little bit later, but it helps you turn $1,000 in cash flow into $12,000 in 5 to 10 years on average. And I've been helping thousands of people do that for the last 20 years.
I love this. So I do have a curious question because I know our audience is waiting. It's like, okay, you got married and 2 years later you're debt free. What did you do during those 2 years?
Oh, okay. What we did was very risky, so I wouldn't recommend it, but I'll tell you what I did. And I talk about this too in my book. My husband and I flipped homes. So we
Hmm.
had heard about a relative of ours who was going into foreclosure on her home, but the home was paid off. So this is kind of crazy. So it was paid off, $250,000 home, but she was going into foreclosure because the maintenance fees on the home weren't paid for. So they'd racked up, and the homeowners association was foreclosing on her. So my father-in-law saved that property, like he just paid it up and got that property back for her. But that was kind of the aha moment in my head that was like, hey, if we flipped a property, if I could find a property like that, $250,000, that would more than cover all of, the debt. It would pay it off. We'd have money left over. We'd be able to do this and that. And so that's what we did. We actually bought a foreclosure, flipped it, paid it off. I'm making it sound way easier than it
I know,
actually
but it's
is.
like, yeah, definitely. Yes.
And that is not, that might be a business that you do, but it is certainly not passive. It is certainly not passive income. I was working 60 hours a week as a lawyer, had to take a 20% pay cut to move to Hawaii in the first place. And I literally was in a situation where I was like, this is crazy. We were working every night, every weekend for an entire year. I didn't have a day off. We had no vacations, nothing. Like we did nothing but work on this house.
Hmm.
And we did everything wrong, made every mistake you could possibly make, including the house not being actually in our name after the foreclosure was done wrong. So we found out when we were trying to sell it that we couldn't sell it because it wasn't in our name. It was insane. Like, I mean, it's just like
It
an,
was the series of mistakes that also helped turn the corner on a lot of things. Like that's like I love that you shared that because it is a learning process. Like you're gonna screw up along the journey, right?
yes, absolutely. But my philosophy is this. If other people have made your mistakes, learn from them.
Yeah.
Don't make the same mistakes. So that's what we try to teach is how to avoid those mistakes, right? Because we've been there, done that. I've done a lot of investing over the years. So not just speculative investing like flipping homes, but pretty much everything else, mortgage notes, all kinds of alternative investments, real estate, everything, rentals. We've done it all. So that is kind of the catalyst to what helped me create the the company we have, which is education, it's financial education and coaching on investing. And I think that's the piece that people are missing, right? People are running around looking for the next shiny object, right? This new investment or this one. Oh, this one. If this is this is an AI stock. Let me buy this. If I get this, I'm going to get rich, or this crypto, or this, or Prosper, or
These
rentals,
little
or
tiny
life insurance.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not the investment. That's not it. You need more than that. And if how-tos were enough, we'd all be skinny, rich, and happy, right? Would it, right? If
Right.
how-tos were enough, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. How to just type it in, and find out how to do it. It's really not that simple, but we've simplified it, right? There's so many investments out there. There's so much out there that it's important to be able to narrow it down. And what we've developed, right, with my software, the patented software, and with our whole education system is a way that people that, and I think for women, it's more important than ever to learn this. But we've developed a system that allows you to know actually before you invest in something, whether or not that investment will work for your plan, and actually have a done for you step-by-step plan that shows you how to get from point A to point Z, that financial freedom date, or whatever it is that you're trying to get to, and get there faster than you can any other way. So that is really the story. That's the story. How we started, how we got financially free, then we started our business. And really, I was looking for something that didn't require someone doing something as crazy as what we did. Yeah.
But you had to do a little crazy to kind of figure out what your next steps were. Like, I think I even do that in my own business, right? Sometimes you got to go through a little like, this is insane. What am I doing? And then you learn from that. You say, okay, how do I teach this to others? So I love the fact that you've taken your experience and you said, you know what? Let's continue paying this forward, not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of all those around us and those that really want to learn how to, build wealth, how to get that financial freedom, how to build passive income, because I will tell you, I have worked with thousands of entrepreneurs over the years, and the business training out there in that world of internet marketing, it's all about marketing. It's all about the
Right.
lead generation, but nobody talks about how to keep the money.
Right. Right.
Nobody, right? Everyone wants to tell you
Exactly.
how to make money, but the curious thing is like making it is one thing, like holding up, like keeping it, building with it, and doing more with that money is a different type of conversation.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting too, I just, I had an event, VIP summit that we had for our clients, and we had a speaker come, and he was explaining, like trying to help everybody do the math of how much money they've made in their lifetime. And it is absolutely insane when you actually do the math on this and figure out how much money you've made. And then he says, how much of it do you still have left? And when he says it like that, you kind of have this epiphany of, holy smokes, what the heck? Where's my money gone? And it's a game changer when you realize there's a lot of money moving through your hands, right? Whether it's your business, for most people, business owners, the money's going through. And we want the whole reason why we become business owners, right? I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses. The reason why we do this is because we want to help people, or we want to have that freedom. But a lot of people, a couple years in, they don't really have that yet. And they're really struggling to figure out like, how can I make this last? How can I make it grow? And how can I eventually have that 100% freedom that I actually want? And
Mm.
I think the key is to really have that safety net like I had, right? I had it before I even started my business. I had the safety net of income to cover everything that I needed, right? Business fails, no big deal. In fact, here's another crazy thing. When we started the business, when we started TARDIS, I told our partners, because we had a couple partners with us, I said, look, I will do this for free. You don't have to pay me. I will work for free for 9 months because I have no clue what I'm doing. I've never run a business before. I could totally flop at this. I could totally screw this up. So you don't have to pay me. But after, if I actually, I didn't say 9 months. I think I did say 9 months. And I said, but when we get profitable, I want to get a paycheck. So we were profitable before a year, within a year. And so I was able to get a paycheck, but didn't need it, So you don't, you want to be in a position where it's just extra, where you can take off, go on a trip around the world for 2 months like we did, not worry about your business, just kind of leave everything to just go while you're gone. And that's really what I'm in the business doing, helping people, entrepreneurs, and regular people, W-2 earners as well, to find that additional passive income that's really going to help them in life, whatever they're trying to do.
Because everyone talks about it. They're like, oh, you need 7 streams of passive income. And then as the business world or business gurus out there keep telling you, there have you really dialed in on one method, one way, and then you wake up as a female entrepreneur and you're like, yeah, I can't keep doing this anymore, right? And I've got a lot of women that are coming to the summit that were former students, right?
Mhm.
Women that I've helped get to 6 and 7 figures. But then again, I even for myself, I looked up at one point and I'm like, how did I make this money? Like you said, but then the next day it's not there. It's because what I was missing was this whole conversation that we're having during this revolution, is that
Yes,
there's multiple things to be working on behind the scenes to wealth build so that your business isn't your retirement, right? It's
right.
not going to retire you. And you don't want to keep selling every single day. So at some point,
Mhm.
this is where Tanisha's coming in. It's like, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the income snowball because this had me curious because when I go to your website, it's like how to turn your expenses and debt into profits or into passive income. I'm like, shut the front door, right? Like, what do you mean? I can do what? So let's talk a little bit about this. You've patented the technology, you've got the
Yes,
calculator, and I will say
yes.
clarity is key. If you don't know your numbers, I have no idea what you're doing in your business.
Yes. And it is the math behind it's pretty complicated. I'll go into kind of the, how it works, but the main thing is that the math is complicated, but the reason why we built it and the reason why we're putting it out there is so that people don't have to do that, try to figure that out. That's hard. What it does is it actually looks at various investments, right? It looks at your income, your expenses, your debts, and whatever your goals are. We plug that into the calculator, and then we're able to see if you were to invest in these things based on your own risk tolerance, based on the types of things that you want to invest in. We're looking at say your risk tolerance is kind of conservative and you want to invest in something, say 6 or 7%, we'll look at that and say, okay, you'll reach your goal. Let's say it's just job freedom, work freedom, whatever. Like, and that doesn't mean you have to stop your business. If you really
Right.
love what you do, you can keep doing it. It's just the option of not having to work. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, we plug that in, and then it comes up with a step-by-step plan over
Mm.
the time period. And it says in February of 2032, you will be financially free, or you will have enough money to buy your dream home, or you will be able to do XYZ or pay for your kids' private school or whatever you're trying to do. So what's beautiful about it is there really isn't a tool like this out there. That's how I was able to get a patent. There's a lot of, education or information out there, but the key is really knowing what to do and when and what not to do. So it's good to know what to do, but also I think what people miss is that there's this what not to do, which is just as important as what to do, because you can screw this up if you don't have a certain if you don't know what to invest in and when, not just any old investment will do, but everything you do should have a systematic approach. When you have that, it makes all the difference. Because we've had people that go and they're already investing in a lot of the things that our clients are investing in. They're already investing in rentals, they're already investing in a bunch of different things, or life insurance, or they're doing all of that. They just don't have the step-by-step, like laid out plan that shows you exactly what to do and what not to do. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say you came to us, you said, hey, here's my income expenses, blah, blah, blah. I have a business, but I want to be able to have, $8,000 a month to cover all my bills, as quickly as possible. How fast can we do it? And we run the numbers and it comes out, it's 9 years. Okay, great. And we can speed this up. There are ways to speed it up. But let's say 9 years. Now, what we're going to do is it maps out. These are the investments you'll buy. This is the approximate rate of return you need to get. This is the type of investment you need. And then we can go out there and look for those specific investments, which is so fantastic. It's not just a smorgasbord
Yes.
out there. You know what I mean? That's where people get confused. They're like, there's just so much. Where do I start? I don't know what to do. It's like it's done for you. It's right here laid out. Now you've got your plan for the next 9 years. And a coach is going to help you speed that up and shorten it to 7 or 6, right? We've been able to help people that had a plan for 4 or 5 get down to 2 years, retire in 2 years. So it's, kind of not like we did it. Like I said, they're not flipping homes and like
But there's
all this
different
crazy
ways to
stuff.
get there. And I think a lot of
Love,
the
yeah.
times, we as women, especially with all the hats that we wear in the world of business and creation and everything else, like we sometimes are like the solo entrepreneur in our business. And then we're taking care of family, household, laundry, groceries, food, dishes, and like the list just goes on and on and on and on, right?
Mhm.
So I love the fact that you provide that clarity. And I really keep using this, women, because throughout this entire revolution, you've heard everyone talk about know your numbers, because
Yes.
it's the numbers that are going to really tell the story. So whether you know your numbers in your business, you've got to know your numbers in your personal finances. And together, Tanisha has got the calculator to bring it. It's like, okay, what are your next steps, right? Because you've heard a lot of different strategies out here, right? Everything from the infinity banking to investing in oil and gas to self-directed IRAs to all these different ways, and they all touch upon each other. They all work together. That's what I love about this entire conversation, is that they all blend into each other. You're going to need them at some point, right? And
Mhm.
you need to start the pathway forward first. That's
Correct.
really important. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And so I think one of the things that a lot of women that are business owners too, that they may not realize is that when you have that plan, right? Once you have that plan, that's the first step. Now you've got it, you can map it out. But then you have these disruptors, right? Like we had the disruptor of COVID a number of years ago, right? Now we have the disruptor of AI. So what do you do? What do you do with AI? I did a webinar not too long ago, and I asked the question, how many of your business or your work will be affected? You believe it'll be impacted by AI? And a little over half of the audience said my business or my work will be impacted by AI. And the
Mm.
other less than half said, I don't think it will be. And then there was a small percentage that was like, I have no idea. So we went into it, right? Because, there was a study done by Microsoft recently where Microsoft said, these are the 40 businesses or, work jobs, occupations that are most likely to be impacted by AI, blah, blah, blah. And so, the key is to utilize that information to your advantage, not to be scared, not to, run away from it, but to really use it for your advantage. I think, and this is where it all kind of ties in, is the income snowball will give you, right? The income snowball calculator will give you that plan. My coaches actually help you walk through, but then in times of disruption, you also need to be able to pivot, right? Because the calculator didn't take COVID into account, right? It didn't take into account the AI revolution that's happening right now. It didn't take any of that into account. But this is the advantage of experience that we talked about, right? Learning from others' mistakes or learning from what we've learned. And I'm telling you, during COVID, we learned a ton. We had so many clients who were business owners whose businesses were shut down 100% from COVID. And I'll give you a couple of quick stories. So one woman, her name is Lisa Arakaki, she had a restaurant in our building where, it's a tower. So there's a lot of offices in that building. And everyone would go and eat at her restaurant. And she wasn't the only one. It's a food court downstairs, but she sold breakfast and lunch, and that was it. Right. After that, everybody would go home, and
Yep.
she made enough money with breakfast and lunch. Okay. So then COVID hits, everything shut down. No one's in the office, right? The whole office building shut down. Everybody's working from home. So she was in a place where she's like, oh my gosh, I have no income. Fortunately, she had already been building her passive income, right?
Mm.
It wasn't like it was this thing that hit her in the face. Now she has no income. She's got to kind of scramble to figure it out. She had already created passive income that she could actually live on for that period, right? She didn't have enough to be financially free at that time just yet, but she had enough to live on for the year that her business was shut down. And actually, not only was she able to live on that income, but she had enough extra to reinvest and
Mm.
actually keep growing her snowball. What she would have done, this is what she told us. What I would have done was tap into my retirement account. I didn't even have to do that because I already had my income snowball going. So, it's one of those things where you don't have to touch your savings, you have to touch any of your existing investments. We show you how to use the little bit of cash flow from your business, leverage that little bit of cash flow, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a month, whatever you have, or whatever you want to put into your snowball, and create thousands of dollars, right? Like I said, turn 1,000 into $12,000 in 8 years. 5 to 10 is typically what people are able to do. And it's phenomenal. It's amazing what we've been able to do. Had another one too. He owned a luxury vacation rental business. So, I mean, high end, like, the properties are worth, 10 million, $15 million each. So he had to cover mortgages on these properties, everything, but he had, he was renting for like ridiculous amounts, $30,000, whatever. People were renting short-term rentals. So that was completely shut down during COVID. Nobody could rent his place. He already had $15,000 a month coming in from his income snowball. So again, he could live on that, and he had some money to cover some of the mortgages on some of those. But he could wait for the PPP loan, all that stuff to come through. He had enough going on. So I say all that to say
Safety
it's
net. It's a
important.
safety net.
Exactly. And if people don't think they need it until they need it, but you got to do it before you need it. It's sort of
Agree.
like savings. It's like when you buy a rental property, you got to have reserves in case your renter trashes the place or whatever. You've got to have that safety net. You do that for your business, so you have to do that for your personal finances as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the key there.
Okay. So Income Snowball, is there anything that you can share about how it works, what they need to like some of the mechanics of that? Because I know I want to dive into next what we're going to take. So just for everyone that listening, what Tanisha's going to share after she kind of shares the mechanics of how this Income Snowball works, right? Is how to use AI as part of
Mhm.
this. So I'm super excited to get to that part, but I think you still need to understand what is the income snowball? Like, how does this work? First, you talk about a calculator and then what? So let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay, so what I love about it is it utilizes two different types of what I call passive income investments.
Okay.
So there's fast burning fuel and there's slow burning fuel investments. So the fast burning fuel investments are ones that are more short term. So think of it like, the type of fuel you put in a rocket, right? Versus the type of fuel you put in a bus. So you'd put fast burning fuel in a rocket, it takes off, it gets it up into the atmosphere very fast. If you're trying to go to the moon or Mars or something, it's quick, right? It'll get you there super, super fast. Whereas the fuel you use for a bus or a regular car, it could take you a very, very, very long time. So you want to put the right fuel in the right vehicle. So the vehicle we're talking about is the income snowball, the system, right? The
Okay.
vehicle is the system of investing versus traditional. And then what we're talking about is the types of investments. So you need to purchase the right type of investment at the right time in the process. So we start with fast burning fuel investments. Those are short-term amortized income investments. So we're talking about like 2-year, 3-year, 5-year investments. And most of the investments actually that our clients use have been products created by financial firms for the income snowball. So we work with a lot of reputable financial firms that have actually created specific products that are fast burning fuel. So in other words, they're short term, so they're 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but they're amortized. So they're principal and interest. You're getting your principal plus your interest back in equal payments over whatever the time period is, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. The
So
shorter, yes.
So I'm going to jump in. So just so for amortization, just so if you're talking that 2, 3, 5, 7 year type of loan, you're talking kind of similar to like making a car payment or making a mortgage payment on your house kind of thing. That's an amortized type of thing, just for clarity
Correct.
purposes of this, right?
100%.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And it's not a loan necessarily, it's an investment, but you can think of it like a loan
Okay.
because what you're doing is you are buying an investment that is going to pay you like if you were loaning somebody money to buy a car, right?
Gotcha.
And so that car payment would over 5 years is going
Paid
to
to you.
be it's going to be pretty big depending on the amount that of the car. So if you think about it for a house, let's think about your house loan, right? Your home loan. Most people get a 30-year mortgage, and the reason they do that is because the payments are smaller, right, than a 15. If you were to get a 15-year mortgage, the payments would be huge. And so, and for rentals, you definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to get a 15-year mortgage because it would wipe out all of the cash flow you could possibly get from that.
Right.
So that's why people do it. But when you're investing this way, what you want to do for fast burning fuel is get the biggest payment you can. So we want to get shorter investments because the payments are larger, more
Okay.
principal, upfront and interest. Now, a lot of people, they're like, well, why would you want it's just a return of your own principal, right? Like, why would you want to do that? But the key is like, that is true if you're investing in those types of investments the traditional way. That's
Mm.
what everyone else is doing. So what they're doing is they're like taking their savings and they're investing it in one of these types of investments. And like prosper.com, for example, that's out there. We have a lot of clients that have that were doing that before they came to us. So they'll invest in something like that. And then prosper.com is a basically it's a peer-to-peer lending. So
Okay.
they'll invest in something like that with their savings, and all they're doing is getting back their money plus a little bit of interest. With
Okay.
this system, it's better. It's better because what you're doing is you're using a little bit of leverage, whatever my calculator is recommending for you. So maybe say a $8,000 or maybe it's $20,000. It could be 50 depending on your cash flow, but it's going to recommend a specific amount of a line of credit to use, a revolving line. And do you have to use a line of credit? No, you don't. You don't have to. But what it does is it increases your buying power, right? It gives you the ability to buy more than you would if you were just using your savings. But if you do use that little bit of leverage, and it's always going to be something pretty small that can be paid off very quickly, and I'm talking about in less than 6 months, typically.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is not 30 years. It's not
This is not the 10 to 9 year process. This is something that allows us to pay back this loan quicker.
very fast. I mean, we're
Okay.
talking, like I said, less than 6 months. So now you're going to pay that back with a little bit that cash flow we talked about, that $1,000 that we turn into 12,000. This is how we do it. So you would take that money, put it in your snowball, and then the income from the investment would also be included to pay down that line of credit. So the
Okay.
amount that you borrowed to invest, you're going to use that to pay it down. Once that's paid down, you'll invest again. Now here's the thing, and I think this is where people get a little bit confused with it because, like I said, I've been teaching this for a long time. So there's a lot out there where people get confused about it and they're like, oh yeah, all you do is just get a line of credit and then you invest it and then you do it again and again and again. Well, if you just do that and you don't have the roadmap that I talked about and the plan and also all the contingencies and everything else I'll talk about, then what happens is it stops working. It stops working in a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, well, okay, well, I have, $1,200 a month, but it's not getting any bigger. Why?
Right.
Because the short-term investment that you purchased in the beginning has already run out. And now you're buying one to replace it. But all it's doing is replacing that one. So it's not actually growing.
Growing,
So
right.
that's why my calculator knows. It knows when to increase it by how much. It takes into account the interest rate on your line of credit or whatever you're using as a line of credit, right? We do have some clients using policies, life insurance policies as lines of credit. So it takes into account the interest rates on the investment, the interest rate on the line of credit, all of that, your cash flow, everything to determine exactly what's going to happen and when. And you can follow it step by step and
Mm.
see exactly what happens. Now, here's where what it can't do, right? It's not a it doesn't won't solve everything, right? Like I said, it doesn't solve the COVID, it doesn't solve the AI, it doesn't solve even like, if something else happens to your income, like your
Right.
income goes down and you're like, now what do I do? Like it can't solve for that. But that's where you need to have like the whole system in place. You need to know how to choose the investments in the first place based on your risk tolerance. You need to know how to develop criteria for those investments, do due diligence on the investments, and have contingency plans. And that's where AI comes in. And that's where we help you build those AI tools to help you with that as well. Now, the coach that you work with on a regular basis, our coaches, that's what they do. So they'll help you build out these AI tools. Actually, I do courses on this for my clients, but they also help do that as well so that it's individualized for your situation. Everyone's different. There's no
Yeah.
cookie cutter solution.
What? There's no cookie cutter solution out there.
There,
There's not like one does it for everybody. It should work like a pair of shoes.
I wish there was, but unfortunately, there is not. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's the customization of it all, right? Like, I think that when you look at each person, we like to say that we're unique. We want to be that individual. And so we each look at wealth as a different way of like what it does for our lives, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it's that mindset. So with the income snowball, just to recap, just for myself. So you're saying that there's investments out there, short-term investments,
Yeah.
amortized investments that you can purchase.
Hmm.
And one of the ways that instead of just getting your principal back and a little bit of interest, one of the ways you create a snowball with this inside your system with the calculator and everything else is that you can kind of borrow or use other people's money. So things
Hmm.
like, basically a line of credit or something else that's out there, but that's
Hmm.
something that is a really individual basis, right? Something that they can
Yeah.
learn from you working with your coaching team. Based on
Yes.
all that information, it says, okay, here's how you're going to be building your wealth. These are the different ways in which it can be done. And
Yes.
here's your strategy that's personalized because this is your goal, this is your dream. And so
Hmm.
we want to help you get to that dream, that passive income stream, whatever that is for you.
100%. We always recommend diversifying, having as many income streams as you possibly can. That's
Okay.
always the best option.
And so that's what you're helping them create. And then inside of this, we're diving into the world of AI because we need let's face it, I got enough on my plate. Sometimes you need AI to give you a little bit of a helping hand. And the tool is out there, right? It is a tool. It is
Mhm.
something that it is available to all of us if you have an internet access. You can go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, but I'm guessing that inside of this, there's some specific questions or processes around how we're using AI to look for investments, how to grow our
Right.
wealth. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So, okay. And I'm so excited about this because, when AI first came out, I was just so excited about it. And I think most people, I shouldn't say most people, but a lot of people are using AI more as a
Incorrectly?
toy. What? Well, I wouldn't say incorrectly. No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say they're using it more like a toy instead of
Yeah.
a weapon. Like we need to use this in the best way to maximize. So in your business, you should be using AI and
Oh,
not
yeah.
just to like write your marketing and your emails and all of that kind of stuff, because that's kind of like the base level basic stuff. You can use it for a lot of other things. We use it for our processes and I mean, we
I
have
use it for cold email marketing. I actually have an AI that runs it all for cold outreach because
that's amazing.
why do I want to be posting every single day when I can do outreach and use an AI generated tool to be able to help me connect with the women that I want to be helping, right? So it's like there's a lot of uses beyond what we think we know about this, and I know we're just
Mhm.
scratching the surface.
Just scratching the surface. And I mean, we use it for like, crazy stuff. Like it can analyze your business finances and tell you where to save money. I mean, it can do, we have tools that role play with our team. I mean, just all kinds of things. And we've built those tools. We built all of those tools ourselves. Now, what I've used it for, I started using it a while back on my personal investments. So what I've been doing is having it help me. I've been able to put my own criteria, right? Everyone has their own criteria for
Yep.
investing. So I've been able to have it put my own criteria, build it into this tool. And then what I do is when people send me deals, right? When these real estate agents send me different deals on commercial real estate, things that I'm looking for, I'll plug it in and it will actually show me this meets your criteria. This is where it doesn't meet it. Tells me how much I should offer on this
Mm.
particular property, the maximum amount I should offer on it. It shows me what the cap rates are. I actually have some other, we're still much smarter than AI at this point, so I can tell it to change the structure of the deal so that it makes it actually work better, even better for my criteria and stuff like that. And so those are things that we have to train it to do. And then on the other side, then I have it do the due diligence for me because just because an investment, what my calculator will do is it will look at the interest rate of the investment, interest rates of, whatever you're using as your leverage. If you're going to use leverage, most people do, but you don't have to. And it'll look at all those things. And then it will say, it will give a result. But what if the investment is bad? Or what
Mm.
if, there's something else about it that you don't know or that you didn't research? You always have to you have to have criteria, you've got to have your due diligence, and you have to have contingency plans. And I've built tools to help me and my investing and my clients in this and certain prompts. So I'll give you another really quick example. So we had a
Yes,
client
please.
who who has built his fast burning fuel. So he's got a lot of going on. And now he wants to buy rentals, right? And he can build a 10 property portfolio in 2 years,
Mm.
with the income snowball because his fast burning fuel will buy all of his rentals for him now. Okay. What
I
he
love that. Yes.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm just giving you a little surface here about what the income snowball can do. But it's just kind of giving you the basics of it. But what people are using it for is to buy, if they want to buy gold, if they want to buy crypto, their fast burning fuel is buying it for them. If they want to pay
Mm.
off debt, if they want to pay for different things or set aside money for different things, we basically are able to have the fast burning fuel buy it faster than you ever could do. And you don't have to wait until you have 20 grand a month coming in. You can do it
Right.
sooner than that. So anyway, so he wants to buy rentals. And so he was like, I'm scared. He said, I've seen all this stuff about AI and how it's already disrupting jobs. Duolingo, they let go, I think, of 200 of their employees or something, their whole staff, right? This is a translation app, and we're seeing that Vogue is using like AI models. I mean, that's, just weird stuff, right, going on. I know a lot of businesses that I used to do business with, I don't need them anymore, right?
Mm.
I was going to have somebody do a voiceover to record the audio of my book, and they were going to charge me thousands of dollars. I was able to do it with 11 labs in like 5 minutes, $50. That's it. Now it's in my voice, right? My book is written in my voice. So he's looking at this going, okay, well, if people are losing their jobs, what about my renters? If they lose their jobs, what am I going to do? So I said,
Mm.
okay, this is what you do, right? So for every problem, there's a solution, and we've already thought about this. So what we did was we created a series of prompts to help you figure out which careers, which businesses are least likely to be affected by AI, and then use that to identify the right rental properties, the right markets. Now, where are those markets? I'll give you a couple of examples, and I did this on the
That's
fly.
interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did this on the fly when we're on the webinar, and I said, look, so let's put this prompt in. So I was showing them how to do it, and I said, you can look for rental properties, for example, but with military. So military near military bases. So military's, pretty much safe,
They're
right?
stable. Yeah. I mean, we
Right. You
have a
can't.
military. They're not closing down the bases. Well, not really. No.
No, no, they
Mm.
still need military. That's going to be a way, when they build robots to fight for us, then I'm sure that'll be a problem. But that's going to be a way down the ways. So militaries, for example, nurses, traveling nurses, that kind of thing for midterm rentals. There's all kinds of different careers that really are not going to be affected at all
Mm.
by AI for a very, very, very long time. So what you can do then is then ask it to locate those areas in the country where you have those concentrations of, in those areas.
Okay.
So we did that, and it came up with these various different areas. And anyway, we mapped out an entire plan. And this client now is way ahead of anyone else out there, right? Who's going to be buying a rental and may have, or maybe even let's say they buy several rentals, and those rentals are in places where, these people are, they just lose their
These are
income.
jobs.
And now
Yeah.
they can't pay their rent. Now you got to find somebody else. So there's always ways. So this helps you invest smarter, right? AI can help
Mm.
you invest smarter and faster. It can help you identify the right investments quicker. It can help you make offers, the best offer before anyone else does. I mean, in every area. So this works with mortgage notes, with rentals. This works with every kind of passive income. That's really what we focus on is passive income. You can do this with stocks and everything else, but what you would need to do is program it with the right prompt. You would have to put very clear criteria so it knows what to do. And that's the key. I think that's what people are missing. Just like, before when it was Google, when everybody was searching things up on Google, like if you don't know what to search for, you're going to get a bunch of junk. Same thing with ChatGPT or any other kind of AI tool that you're using. If you're using the wrong prompts or you don't know what to put in or you're missing information, it's going to be garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why it has worked beautifully and our clients love it. And I'm just really happy to give out this information to as many people as possible. It's great.
I think it was you gave us in this conversation is like you don't have to think about everything, right?
Right.
There are definitely the demographics, the information, all of this based on like where people live and everything else. So you're leveraging, right? You talked about leveraging, you're going to use a small amount of leverage with the income snowball. Well, leverage AI. Like don't let
Yes.
like you want to create as many levers as possible. I think the longer the lever, the more I can move kind of the philosophy. So
Hmm.
extend the leverage, right? And take advantage of all the opportunities. And I really will say it right now, you're at the cusp of something that's very transitional in the world with how AI is being used, its purpose and intention. And then I think if you're looking at the job market, I get an email that talks doomsday about AI all the time. I just read it for fun at this point. But I'm
Yeah.
like, at the other side, everyone complained about the phone. This
Right.
little sucker that came out in late 1990s, right, which is
Hmm.
now in everybody's hands, which is now a mini computer. The resistance for it was it's going to destroy everything, but at the same time it's added so much to our life, right?
Absolutely.
So you can look at it as it's going to destroy or it's going to add something else. It's the evolution. And when you're talking about wealth building, you want every advantage you can get. I mean, the traders, I just did a master class for the summit around the stock market. They use indicators, which are all AI driven tools anyway. They've been using it
Yes.
for years, right?
Yes.
So it's not like this is new information. It's just
No.
now getting creative in the application of it,
Hmm.
thinking
Absolutely.
outside the box. Because, like you said, well, I did it here. Here's a prompt that we're looking at, and it says, go help find this, you know?
Hmm.
And the fact that you have that tool at your fingertips, why wouldn't you want to use it?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and that's really what we're sharing with our clients is, we have a whole curriculum designed to help take them from, risk, like, what is your risk tolerance? And if your risk tolerance is XYZ, you shouldn't even be looking at these investments, fast burning fuel or slow burning fuel, it doesn't really matter. Don't look at these. And so now the tool can actually tell you that, right? Based on you answering a bunch of questions in the tool, the risk tolerance assessment that we created, it actually will tell you these you should not even be considering these investments. Consider these, don't consider these. Or you're very, very aggressive, so you could consider these, but beware of these issues. And then take you down to the next step, which is the criteria, and the next step, which is the due diligence. And before doing all of these things individually, right? We've always been educating our clients on all of these things because we've had clients that, they found a fast burning fuel, but it wasn't good. It was a bad investment. And so you can mess up your snowball that way too if you don't have all of those pieces in place. But now with AI, it's even better because it's easier, it's faster to do all of that. You can do it in minutes. It used to take maybe hours before.
So
And now
let's
you can
talk
do it in
due
minutes.
diligence around this too,
Yes.
because you brought that
Yes.
up. So I've got to make sure that we honor the whole process, right? So
Yes.
every strategy has this excitement, like, oh, I can do that. And due diligence is the key behind it.
100%.
So talk
Yes.
to me a little bit about how, whether you're using AI, but what are you looking at when you talk due diligence? What does that really look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we do a lot. So as a company, we do our own, and then we make our clients do it as well. And the reason why is because we'll do it on the firm, the vendors, the all of that, and then we do if they're creating a new product or they're basing for our clients a fast burning fuel product. Then we have to do the due diligence on the underlying product. We have to do, some other things. What we want our clients to do is a different type of due diligence, right? So they're going to do due diligence. They may do the same, right? They can do the same. And we've given them, what we do. We actually do background checks and stuff like that, criminal and everything else. But the other thing that we do is on the investment side, we have our investing philosophy in there. We have criteria like what, if it's fast burning fuel, what a fast burning fuel should include. When we look at what the investment is, we need to make sure that we understand what the underlying investment in and the risks of the underlying investment. So if the underlying investment has a lot of risk with it, right, then certain people with certain risk tolerance should not be into that fast
Can
burning
you
fuel.
give me
They'll
an
look for
example
more
of this?
conservative.
Just
Yes.
because it seems like I'm following, but then I kind of lost me when you talk about, so let's pick a specific product.
Yeah,
Something.
let's do Prosper. Let's talk about Prosper, for
Okay, let's
example.
talk about process.
That's one that isn't like I really couldn't explain the ones that have been built by firms for our clients because
Right.
it's not going to make any sense. But Prosper, everybody knows what that is, right? So Prosper.com is peer-to-peer lending. What's nice about it is you can decide your risk tolerance. So once you've taken our assessment and you know what you should be investing in, like what your interest rate should be, then you stick to that. So it will tell you if you're out investing in notes where basically you're loaning money to people, that's what Prosper is. You're loaning money to people. Some are business owners, right? Some are people consolidating debt. Some people are paying for their wedding, whatever. You can look at every individual note and see what they're trying to invest in, or you can have it do it for you and just decide based
Mhm.
on a rate of return you're trying to get. So if your risk tolerance is higher, you're able to go into the higher rates of return, maybe into the 14% or the 12 to 14% interest rate if you have a very, very high risk tolerance. But there's a risk there, right? That you have a higher risk of defaults on the higher um, rate of return. So
Right.
that's what I mean by the underlying investment. What am I investing in? Why are these notes why do they have such a high rate of return? Why is it 14% that I'm getting from these? Oh, it's because the underlying investment is debt consolidation. And so the credit of this individual is maybe not the best. And that's why Prosper's offering 14% interest. Maybe I want to go with somebody with people that have better credit and maybe a lower rate of return. Maybe I'm gonna go for 8% with Prosper. So that's what I mean by the underlying investment, right? The ones that are 14% are higher risk than the ones that are at 8%. And
Okay.
so that kind of thing, the underlying investment. And it's not always a direct correlation that way. Another one would be, for example, you know, ground floor. So ground floor is another one that's publicly available out there. So basically what you're doing is you're loaning money to ground floor. Now, ground floor has been in business for a while, and I think it's successfully been paying all of its notes and stuff, but it's still a startup, right? It's still a startup. And so the risk that you're taking with those investments is that it's a startup that may not, sometimes it takes them 7 years, 10 years to be profitable. So,
Yeah.
that's some of the underlying risk that you have as well, by loaning money to the company, that kind of thing. So
And these
those are
are
just a couple examples. Yeah.
Okay, and so and I'm seeing like for this one, and actually those are all new to me. So you're kind of
Oh.
crossroads, like this one. I was like, actually, I did not know that existed. Hence why you're here on the summit, right? Did not
It's
know
been
that
around for a
existed.
long time. It's been around for like 15, 20 years. I mean, it's been 15 years, I think. It's been around for a long time. That's why a lot of alternative people that invest in alternative investments, and by alternatives is everything outside of the stock market. And that's all I invest in is alternatives.
Okay.
So that's why I know about it. So people that invest in alternatives know all about it. It's been around for a long time, very reputable company. And the newer companies that are coming up, you've got to do more due diligence. So what we do is we have a number of questions that we ask, and that you can build into it. So you can pull out their due diligence questionnaire from one of these businesses, and you can plug it in, and it
Okay.
will analyze it for you and say, these are some things to watch out for. Here's what you should know, blah, blah, blah. And if you're okay with that, then you can invest. If you're not okay with it, then you need to look for something else. But those are really key, that I can't even tell you how important that is. It
Yeah.
is so important to do that.
And I think that's the big key because you're bringing up a lot of tools and systems out there that, as a business owner and as a woman and those that are doing the different things, we don't always know what's out there.
Yeah.
Like we like to say we do, but you've been very specific in alternative investing for so long that for you, I can hear it, right? It's just like, this is just what my day-to-day life is, right? But
Yeah.
when you're listening, so for the women that are watching that this isn't your day-to-day life, you've never heard of alternate investments, you only know of a 401k in the stock market. This is where we challenge you, right? This is where Tanisha's like, so there's this other thing you can do, right? And so
Yeah.
that's what we want to get you aware of is that there's a lot more out there than what you've been led to believe. And
Yeah.
like Tanisha and everyone on this summit, these are things that aren't talked about openly.
Yeah.
And I
Correct.
think that's, the thing that we don't talk to each other. And as women, I love that we're coming together and we're saying, hey, let's change this conversation. Let's be really open around transactions, money, and how it works. Because here's what I also know. Women, our brains are creative geniuses. Hence why you're the creator, right? You're the creator of everything. You've created life. If I'm not mistaken, women have birthed life all over this planet, right? We have the ability to really take something that has been given to us and just listening to Tanisha, she's like, her creativity has exploded, right? With the use of AI and everything else she's done with what she's done for her clients, that's where I want you as women. There is something here for you today that you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And if you had that moment at any point in this conversation with Tanisha, you're like, oh, I didn't know you could take like a line of credit and then buy like some sort of short-term, fuel investment type of a thing that could possibly give me passive income that would allow me to not have to be in my business this whole time, that would like, expand my life and the quality of life. That's what you just heard here today.
Exactly.
That's what I feel like you've just explained. And it still feels a little like, and the fact that you've crafted the tools and said, let's look at this a little differently. Like I did this in the beginning, but then there's other ways to do this. There's other alternatives out there.
Yes.
And the female brain, according to like our research in science, because I love working with women for this, our brain is actually designed for this type of investing.
Yes. I
Our
would
wo-
agree with that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do.
the
And I
female
think women
brain
are just
is
better at certain parts of this. You know what I mean? Women are intuitive too. So I think that there's something to be said for that. Not that men aren't, but I think that we do have a little bit more of an intuition about things. And once you open that up, and then you also use the tools and we're going to give some things away for free to your audience too, by the way, but so that they can start learning how to do these things, just for your audience, because I just think when you match up that intuitive nature that we as women have with I mean, you've got to be pretty awesome to start a business, to be an entrepreneur in the first place. So to have that and to be a business owner, you might think, I'm so busy, I don't even know where I'd start to invest, but that's the whole reason that you want to do this and use these tools. It's going to make it so easy for you. It's going to reduce the amount of time and energy you have to put into this. We've made it so simple that I mean that's what I need. I can't spend a lot of time on a lot of things. I've got my kids, sports, all kinds of things that I want to do. So that's why I built these tools to make it easy.
I
Yeah.
love this. So you said you have a few things to share with the audience for the
Yeah.
ones here. So what are some of the ways they can step forward? What are you sharing with them today?
So I'm going to give away a free chapter of my book, Creating Your Income Snowball, the passive investing cheat code to mastering wealth. And it was the number one bestseller on
Ooh,
Amazon when it launched last
love
year.
it.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so that I was so excited. I was like, whoa, number one, that's awesome. In the investing category. And then I'm also want to give you some of the tools, some of the AI tools that I was talking about. So I'm also going to give you that for free as well. So all you've
Ooh.
got to do is go to tardis.com/create her. And on that, you'll find those resources. Just grab them. Just grab them.
Yep.
Get
So
them
the
while they're
link will be
hot.
down, the link will be down below for everybody that is here. You know that your drill, you're watching this masterclass. All of Tanisha's information, how to get in contact with her, what she's giving away, all the buttons are down below. So if you're watching on mobile trying to, get everything together, just know that it's there. And best of all, if you're going VIP, you have the whole masterclass series. Every single woman that's on here for $47, you guys get access to every single one of them to watch over and over again. Connect with them, learn the tools, learn the strategies, because I promise you, each one of them lean into each other. What Tanisha is building here, you're going to look at and say, okay, I need this tool over here. Oh, I need this tool over here. And it's building blocks. It's baby steps through this process. The first thing, and like what Tanisha says, you've got to get clear on where you're at.
Yeah.
That's step one. So if you're afraid of your checkings account, if you're afraid to look at your finances, if you fear tax time like nobody's business because you don't know what's going to end up on that bottom line, this is your wake up call, ladies.
Mhm.
And it begins here today because there is tons of alternative investment strategies.
Yes.
And what
Yeah.
I love with what you're doing, Tanisha, is like you say, here's the calculator. Here's a list that you should start with. Here's the ones you should absolutely freaking avoid. They're not in your wheelhouse right now. Right
That's
now.
right.
They might be in the future, but
Yeah.
right now, don't even look at them.
Hmm.
Right?
That's right. It's like
And
having a crystal ball,
yeah,
in
well, it's like
investment.
having you in their pocket the whole time. Like they get to stick you in the back pocket and they get to go, hey, what's Tanisha telling me today? Oh, this is my plan. This is what I need to look at. This is where I need to go. This is my snowball that I'm creating.
Yep.
Right? Everybody talks
Absolutely.
about the debt snowball. That's crappy. Nobody really wants to talk about the debt. Let's talk about the income snowball. Let's talk about how to build those income streams so that you can truly, as a business owner, be financially free, time freedom,
Hmm.
and that is all the conversations that we discussed in here. So Tanisha, you are amazing. I am looking forward to getting a hold of your book. So
Yeah.
remind us again what we're getting. So we're getting the book.
Yes, you're getting a chapter of the book, and I'm trying to see if we can actually get it to you guys in audio, but either way,
Ooh,
you'll get that. But we are available globally, right? My book is available globally wherever books are sold, Barnes and Nobles, Powell Books, Amazon, of course, everywhere.
okay.
So you can get that anywhere. I think we have it on our website as well. But we'll give that chapter, and I'm going to give you some of the AI tools as well, some AI investing tools that you can start using immediately to start
Ooh.
learning how to invest smarter, faster, give you that unfair advantage.
Can I just hug you from here? Like literally, you need to be closer. So because this is the conversations that we're having, right? So throughout the summit, we've talked infinity banking. We've talked about trust. We've talked about because you're a lawyer, right? You got to have the
Mhm.
legal in. We have a CPA in here that used to be a former tax IRS lady. She'd write all those crazy like tax bills that nobody really wants as a business owner. And so she teaches how to get down to a zero tax strategy, right?
Amazing.
So, like, this all interconnects because what you're learning from Tanisha, you're going to want a zero tax strategy, especially if you're going to be making that kind of money. You want to know how to protect it more. So, it all works together.
That's right.
And that's what I love because you're learning the not just the one piece, but you're learning the bigger picture. And then
Mm.
from there, connect and be inspired and work with these women. They're powerhouses. All right. Well, thank you for talking with us about the snowball, income snowball. talking about AI, how we're going to start using this as a tool, as a powerful tool. I can't wait to read the chapter in the book. Grab hold of that book because I have a feeling you don't want just the chapter, ladies. You're going to want the whole thing. So just make the investment. Trust me, it's good for your brain. And honestly, if you can learn from another woman how she's investing, that's the best compliment you can give each other. Support each other in our success. That's how we help more women become successful. So support Tanisha, grab the whole book at the end of the day. And in there, go through, take those AI prompts, start learning how to invest because I promise you it will change the course of your life forever.
Yes, it will. Thank you so much, Katrina. This was awesome.
If today's conversation hit home, don't just listen, take the next step. Download the free Create Her Authentically guide at createherplanner.com/free and discover how to build your business in alignment with your natural rhythm. And if you love this episode, please leave a review. It helps more women find the show. I'll see you in the next episode.